How can you guys start £1 million business by yourself? This video is going to go through exactly step by step how you can go about starting £1 million business without hiring people, without having employees, without having that pressure and doing things all for yourself. To start with, there are a couple of things you have to factor. If you don't have money, then the best business you can start is a service-based business. Now, a service-based business is basically where you provide a service to a company, and it can be to normal customers as well as in the general public. You provide a service and they pay you for that service. So for example, it could be editing, it could be photoshopping, it could be, all that design stuff, the social media stuff, something like that. It can be social media marketing itself, having your own agency, something like having your own recruitment company is also a service-based business. Now, what you want to do and how you want to get to £1 million company, actually, you want to be able to make at least 300 to 400,000 pounds a year. And the easiest way you can go about making 300 to 400,000 pounds a year, actually, the first thing I would do is think about how much money I need to make every single month. So assuming now my target is 300,000 pounds a year, to get my company to be valued at £1 million, I would need to make 300,000 pounds. And so every single month, I would need to make 25,000 pounds. Now, 25,000 pounds, though, is a lot of money. There is no denying that £25,000 is a lot of money. I started my recruitment company and got it to making £20,000 a month, 6 months in. And to be honest with you, I probably put in about 30-40% effort. Many times I did do the 80-90%, but it would be like 1 week here, 1 week there. And over 6 months, I would say, generically speaking, I put in about 40% effort, and I was able to get my company to make £20,000 a month. But I'm not going to just explain how you can get your company to be valued at £1 million in recruitment. Actually, I'm going to tell you how you can do it in different niches and different industries. So if you want to be able to do things by yourself and you don't really want to have employees, then it's quite important to look at if you can do something where you will get paid the month after and the month after and the month after. So there are things that you need to negotiate with your clients which will make you feel like, I have this client working with me for the next 6 months and the next 12 months. That means you can then work with other clients and know that actually you've got 2 or 3 clients, for example, in your niche, in your sector, in your industry, that have agreed long-term contracts. 1, that also helps the company's valuation. But 2, it also helps you grow. So take, for example, marketing. If you're doing social media marketing for a company, you would want to agree to a retainer with the company. Now, let me explain, and I will go through how you can go about agreeing a retainer with a company. But let's say, for example, you agree a £2,000 a month retainer. The idea there would be that you look after their marketing. There are ads that the company has to pay for, and that will be separate to your services. They take on your services at £2,000 a month, and you say, look, I can do X for you and X for you and X for you. But obviously, we would need to sign a 6-month retainer. And the simple reason to why I do that is because you're not going to get results in month 1. It takes time. And so it doesn't take 6 months, but in 2 or 3 months' time, we expect to start seeing results. And we want to know that we're working with a company who is signed in with us for 6 months. And so we can completely focus on you. If we feel like you're only in it with us for the short term, then obviously it's difficult for us to commit to you because there are other companies willing to commit for 6 months and 12 months. And we can work as a team rather than feel like you're just using us for a service. Trust me when I say it goes a long, long way. And getting a company to be on a retainer, and what does a retainer in essence mean? A retainer means that you have retained the client where they're going to be paying you for a while. It can be where you've retained the client for 6 months. And so every 6 months now, they're going to pay you £2,000 regardless. So if you have now 4 or 5 companies and they're paying you £2,000, £2,500, then obviously, you're looking at the 10, 12, maybe even more, because you can agree a higher rate. You can agree £3,000, £4,000 per company, depending on how much work is involved. Then you can be looking at the £15,000 to £18,000 a month mark when you're doing marketing for another company. The better you get, the more reviews you have, the more results you can show to companies, the more you can charge. If a company can show how you can double their income, for example, and it is possible, you can double their income, then obviously you're able to get more money. And I would say actually, it would be worth maybe agreeing that we will do it for a little bit less, but we expect a percentage of sales. And that's something you can agree with companies as well. Some companies are actually more than happy to do that and say, for example, you're making 30, 40, 50,000 pounds a month. If we can get you to making 70, 80, 90,000 pounds a month, so only the money on top we will charge you a percentage of the money that we make on top for you. So for example, that could be £50,000 is what they're doing already. You will say, if your average is £50,000 right now, anything on top of that, we would like at least 15%. And if you're good at marketing and if you're a marketing expert, then you know that a lot of companies are not optimizing their social media and not making the most of their marketing. And so if you can come in and grow their monthly income from 50 to even £70,000, which is only £20,000 extra for them, that's actually £3,000 extra to you. So it's not just about agreeing a retainer. You may want to agree something like £1,500 and then say, I want to do it more based on results because I believe I can give you the results, right? And that is actually encouraging for a company, and a company will be a lot more likely to work with you if that's something you can agree with. So if you're doing £1,500 and then you're doing £3,000 in commissions and extra income from making this company more money, then you're looking at £4,500. Do that for 5 companies, and it is very possible to do it for 5 companies, right? It does mean that you have to obviously give time. Look, if you want to be able to do it for yourselves and you don't want employees, then you're going to have to give your time, right? Having said that, once you get it set up, once it's all running, once it's all smooth, and you have clients agreed on long-term contract over 12 months, then obviously you can move away, hire someone and do something else with your time. Though I have to be honest, I want to emphasize this, that social media marketing and starting a marketing company isn't actually massively appealing for me. And I'll tell you why. Because I think a lot of companies expect you to have some element of music, some women, and you're always going to have some element of hurdles, more hurdles than maybe in other sectors, because as a Muslim, I don't want to fall into the music and the women, and I want to avoid those things. And so I will always be limited on that. Now, how would you do that when it comes to a recruitment company, and how did I do that for myself? Well, a minimum fee on a recruitment placement is about £3,000 to £4,000. And let me tell you how that works. And so if someone is on a £40,000 a year salary, I would charge 15%. And so I would make £6,000 per person if they successfully get the job. £6,000, why? They're on a £40,000 a year salary, and these days salaries are increasing more and more. And so if you can get someone on a £60,000, £70,000 a year salary, the industry average is 15%. So on £6,000, you would make £9,000 as a fee, as a placement fee, if a candidate gets the job successfully for a company. I have to be honest, recruitment is one of those industries that no one is talking about on social media, has massive scope, can definitely grow. And the reality is a lot of people who are on the older side are doing recruitment at the moment. The younger generation haven't gone into it. As soon as the younger generation start doing it, as soon as those TikTok gurus start doing it, that's when you know you can start thinking about saturation. But right now, it's big organizations, big companies, and the little guys haven't even tried getting their cut. But that's not it when it comes to recruitment, because actually, remember when I said you want to do something where you know you're going to be getting paid for the next month and the month after? Well, there's 2 sides. Permanent recruitment, where you get one fee. It's like a huge bonus. One guy gets the job for £60,000, you take 15%, and so £9,000 as a fee, one off. Having said that, contracting, temporary recruitment is basically where a candidate works on a temporary basis. And so they will get paid £15 an hour, for example, and you as an agency would charge £20 an hour. So let me make that make sense for you. You pay £15 for the candidate and you charge the company £20. That's, by the way, how it works, recruitment in temporary side, and company knows about that and you agree that beforehand, which means you make £5 every single time this candidate works an hour. Sounds crazy, right? But have you ever seen a quote which says, you know you've made it when you're sleeping and you're still making money? Actually, this is very similar to that. Someone else is working and you get paid for every hour they do. I had a candidate who was getting paid £40 an hour, right? And we were charging £57 to the company. I was making £70. I was making £17 for every single hour that candidate was working. That's a full-time salary, by the way, from just one candidate. He was making £30,000+ for me in a year because he was working as a temporary contract. And so the good thing here is if you can even get the lower end guys, which actually, you know, laborers, assemblers, manufacturers, factory workers, that sort of stuff, you'll still be making £3 to £4 an hour. So if on one candidate you were making £4 profit per person, and that person ended up working 45 hours over 4 weeks, and you had 20 guys working for you, you would make £14,400. So just to reiterate, that's 20 candidates working for you on £4 profit margin, which isn't that high, and it's not that low, it's sort of in the middle. I would say £4 is very, very normal. Usually we definitely did charge less, but our average was definitely closer to the £5 mark. So £4 is very normal. Now 20 guys, how normal is that? Well, some companies will turn around to you and say, we need 10 people in 2 weeks' time. Some companies like factories and stuff like that, they will just be like, we need 10 people. So it could genuinely be where you have nothing and within a month you have 10 people working on a contracting basis for a year working for you. £14,400 still isn't close to that £25,000. However, if you get that one permanent placement, you're now looking at £25,000 a month. And looking at it from the other side, you could have 10 contractors, 5 contractors working for you and make 2 or 3 permanent placements a month. And again, you'd make your £25,000 a month. Those are the service-based business, and service-based business are amazing. And by the way, we do teach recruitment. So if you do want to learn how to start your own recruitment company, only because I've done it myself and I know exactly how to teach recruitment, but I might be good at something and others are better at something else. And so what we've done is created a platform where I teach how to start your own recruitment company, as well as got 5 other directors of recruitment companies in. I paid them and I said, you need to help me teach people how to start their recruitment company. I've done it myself. I teach it myself. In fact, my initial course was all me, but I wanted to give even more value. And so if that's something you are interested in, we will leave the link in the description below. Leave your details on, someone will be in touch. But moving on, and something which is similar to a service is actually, if you are good at something, or if you can provide value, if there is something you can give, then start a subscription model. Subscription models are massive, huge. And actually, there are many ways where you can have a subscription model. It could be where you're teaching something. It could be where you're providing a service. Maybe it even is that you get someone with corporate experience, with someone who is really, really good at something, bring that person to the public, and then you charge a fee or a subscription model to the people. And by the way, 50 quid a month, think about it like this. If you charge £50 a month as a subscription model to 500 people, you would make your £25,000 a month. And I know it's not that easy to just say 500 people. Obviously, your product and your service should always be good. On my channel, we never ever recommend sharing or teaching or doing something which is not okay. I will never be deceptive, and I will never tell you guys to be deceptive. Be really good in what you can do. Over provide on the value. Make the offer so good that people can't say no. And £50 a month isn't a lot if you are providing a lot of value. People are using things like school, starting communities, offering courses, even mentorships, but there are many ways where you can start subscription models. And something we do, like Teach You is the platform where we have multiple courses and we charge £23.99, £1.99 for the first month. See how it is. If you like it, you can stay, and £23.99 onwards. And you can, by the way, take this idea, see if you can do it for yourself, but basically what it is I pay educators, I pay people who have started companies, people who work in FTSE 100 companies. So we had a guy who started his own SaaS company and sold it for £40 million. Right? And he teaches how to start your own SaaS company. And that course is on the Teach You platform, and you can have it for £1.99. Not only that, but we provide a webinar at the end of the month where you guys can learn from someone live and have all access to the courses. We teach marketing, sales, SaaS companies, ads, how to run ads, and so much more. But the point I'm making is we're making it so good, we're providing so much value that people can't say no. Like, it's actually like, this is too good to be true. And obviously I will leave the link in the description for if anyone does want to take advantage of the £1.99 for the first month, which, by the way, is probably like third of a coffee. And to add even more value to this video, and I hope you guys are getting value, I want to give you some ideas that you guys could do. So you could go into the consulting side. If you've got experience, if you worked in corporate environment, if you feel like you can give value, then consulting is amazing. Developing websites, maybe you're a Shopify expert, maybe you're a branding expert, you can generally be charging £2,000-3,000. In fact, I need people to look at my branding. I would happily pay £2,000-3,000 a month. I would hire someone full time. But if someone even did it part time, I am paying someone. I would even pay someone more to give us more ideas on how we can improve on our branding. If you're an expert when it comes to running ads, you could charge companies a lot of money to be able to get them more sales through the door because you are the expert in ads. And if you're not, if you don't know any of this stuff, then educate yourself, then understand how to run ads. And again, it's actually on Teach You, by the way, for £1.99, but there are many ways where you could educate yourself on how to run ads and then charge a service to companies £2,000-3,000 a month to then make them £20,000, £30,000, £40,000 a month. Makes complete sense for a company. And again, going back to what I initially said, if you could charge commission and a percentage of the new business that comes in, you can actually make a lot of money. Even things like SEO and making sure that people are optimizing their websites the best they possibly can, or helping people write better emails for their newsletters, even sales. Because if you can help people in sales and cold calling, and by the way, as an expert in sales and cold calling and persuasion, this is something that I've done for 10 plus years. I promise you, companies need people when it comes to the sales side. Companies need people to maybe even teach them, but maybe even break deals for them, close deals. And if you can charge a percentage to people, so say to them, for example, I will help you close more deals. I need £1,000 extra a month, and I'm going to help you close deals, but I need a percentage of the deal. And you can say, look, I'm going to charge 20, 30, 40%, right? It's new business. If it's new business, obviously it means that you can charge a higher percentage. You can end up making the company a lot of money, but you could also make yourself a lot of money. And by the way, I've seen a lot of this, teaching sales and teaching this sort of stuff. I don't actually believe that there are a lot of people in the world that really do understand sales, that are good at it. And by the way, you might be like, well, how are you sitting here in front of us and saying you're good at sales? I do believe I'm good at sales. And if you think I'm wrong, then I have many cold calling videos, many sales videos where I actually give examples of how I do this stuff. But some people, unfortunately, will say they're good at something and never give any examples, never show it. There is no proof in the pudding. And that is something you want to stay away from, because unfortunately, there's a lot of noise on the social media, and it's very difficult to differentiate between someone who actually is good and someone who doesn't really know what they're on about. So hopefully this gives you confidence and makes you understand exactly how you can go about getting a £1 million company and doing it for yourself. Make sure you like this video because it helps the channel massively. Subscribe to the channel, share with your family and friends, because I'm trying to give you tons and tons of value throughout.